He said he'd be my fake boyfriend. All I had to do was stop making his job miserable. That should have been the easy part. We found a quiet corner of the estate, a small sitting room off the main corridor with 2 armchairs and a window overlooking the garden. Ethan closed the door, set his clipboard down on the side table with that precise, deliberate way he does everything, and looked at me. "So," he said, "you told your ex-boyfriend you're in a relationship." I panicked. "You fabricated an entire devoted partner." I said I panicked. He studied me for a moment. Not unkindly. Just thoroughly, the way he assessed a seating arrangement or a floral installation looking for the structural problems. "He's going to be here all weekend," I said. "The rehearsal dinner tonight. The ceremony tomorrow. The reception. And he's going to be watching me the entire time with that look on his face, that sympathetic, slightly superior look, and I cannot spend 48 hours being someone he feels sorry for." Something shifted in Ethan's expression. Just slightly. Gone before I could name it. "I'll do it," he said. I stared at him. "Just like that?" "Not just like that." He leaned back slightly, arms crossed. "I have conditions." Of course he did. "You stop second-guessing my decisions for the rest of the weekend. The centerpieces stay where they are. The timeline is not up for debate. You trust that I know what I'm doing and you let me do it. That's it? And you follow my lead when we're in front of people. No contradicting the story, no nervous over-explaining, no telling me what to do. If I put my arm around you, you don't flinch. If I say something about us, you back it up." I thought about Daniel's face in the lobby. That smile. "Deal," I said. Ethan nodded once, picked up his clipboard, and said, "The rehearsal dinner starts at 7. I'll find you at 6:50. And he walked out like we'd just agreed on a catering substitution. I stood there for a moment in that little sitting room and thought, this is absolutely going to end in disaster. I was right. Just not in the way I expected. He found me at 6:50, exactly as promised. I was standing in the hallway outside the dining room in a deep green wrap dress, second-guessing every life choice I'd ever made. Ethan appeared at the end of the corridor, and I noticed for the first time, really noticed, that he cleaned up in a way that was almost unfair. Dark blazer, charcoal trousers, that crisp white shirt open one button at the collar. He walked toward me with the same controlled ease he always had, but something about the context made it land differently. He stopped in front of me. Looked me over once, not in an intrusive way, just assessing, the way he assessed everything. "You look nice," he said. Simple. Direct. Like it was just information. I didn't know what to do with that coming from him, so I said, "Don't push it." He almost smiled. Almost. We walked in together and he put his hand at the small of my back again, that same gesture from the lobby, and this time I was prepared for it. Mostly. It was still warm and steady in a way that made something in my chest do a thing I chose not to examine. Daniel saw us immediately. I watched his eyes track from my face to Ethan's hand and back again. Good. The dinner was not what I expected. Ethan was good at this. Genuinely, disconcertingly good. He remembered details I had mentioned in passing during months of wedding planning arguments, my job, my opinions, a trip I'd taken 2 years ago, and he wove them into conversation like he'd been paying attention the whole time. When Daniel asked how we met, Ethan said, "Through Sophie's wedding planning, actually. Clara has very strong opinions about floral arrangements." And the way he said it, warm, amused, fond, made it sound like an endearment instead of a complaint. I looked at him. He looked back at me with those gray eyes, and there was something in them I hadn't seen before. A kind of quiet attentiveness. After dinner, the wedding party spilled out onto the garden terrace. String lights overhead, the smell of jasmine, the low hum of conversation. Ethan handed me a glass of wine and we stood slightly apart from the group for a moment. "You're surprisingly good at this," I said quietly. "I'm good at reading people," he said. "And managing situations. Is that all this is to you? Situation management?" He was quiet for a second. "You have a piece of the rehearsal dinner menu in your hair." I reached up and he was already there, fingers brushing gently through the side of my hair, retrieving what turned out to be a tiny sprig of rosemary from the table garnish. He held it up between us with a look of perfect composure. I laughed. Actually laughed. And he watched me do it with an expression I couldn't quite read. From across the terrace, I saw Daniel watching us. And for the first time all evening, I wasn't thinking about Daniel at all. The wedding was tomorrow. And somewhere between the rosemary sprig and the way he'd said my name in front of Daniel, warm and certain, like he meant it, I had started to wonder if Ethan Blake was actually as good at pretending as I thought. Or if some of it wasn't pretending at all. Stay tuned for the next part.